Well, that was an album. Let's talk about The Spark by Enter Shikari, their 5th studio album. So on the 22nd of September 2017, Enter Shikari released their 5th studio album, The Spark, and it was produced by David Costin and Rue Reynolds of Enter Shikari, who said that he intended to write the band's most important work. I think I need to make it a little bit clear, I haven't been the biggest Enter Shikari fan. I only really got into them when they first did a cover for a Kerrang compilation album, but I've been waiting for this album to be released for as long as they've been teasing it, and I'm going to see them. So if that doesn't validate my credentials, I don't know what does. It kicks off with the title track, The Spark, which is just a 49 seconds of light synths, and then it fades into The Sights, which I guess you could describe as an electro-pop song. The OOOs in the pre-chorus do tend to remind me of the 21 Pilots song Stressed Out. Oh, 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 if I could turn back time, do, do, do. Yeah, you know what I mean. Something interesting though that I do notice in that song, there's the Boldly Go Into the Great Unknown. That's kind of a bit like what this album is. It's very non-hardcore for a hardcore band. There's a lot of pop influence on this album, you can tell that. Listen to Live Outside, which was the first single to promote this album, which to me sounds like a very Enter Shikari brand pop song. It still has the elements of heavy music. There's screamings at one point where Rue Reynolds is literally just going, they don't even know about us. Then you get to the first song on the album that probably couldn't pass as a pop song, Take My Country Back. It's very obviously talking about Trump and Brexit and other acts of nationalism that right-wing people attach themselves to. Look what we've done to ourselves, we've really gone and fucked it this time, being an example of the lyrics used in this song. It could apply to Brexit, the Tories, who knows, just 2016 and 2017 in general. Airfield then slows the pace down entirely. To me, it showcases the versatility of Rue Reynolds' voice, because you have the whole range here. You've got falsetto and you've got very low vocals as well. And that's not just in this song, it's also dotted around the entire album. It happens a lot in Rabble Rouser too. I do think Airfield is going to be an interesting song to like see live, because it's mostly steady through the majority of the song, and then it builds up with a string part into a really loud, powerful sing-along chorus of you're down on your luck, you're down. And to me, that's just going to be one of those lighters in the air moments in a gig. If you're going to see them, listen out for Airfield. Have your lighters at the ready. Then we get Rebel Rouser, the second single that I've already mentioned. It starts off with a quick riff, and it's kind of rap rock slash electro, you know, like electro rock rap. I'd say there's a lot of grime influence in this song. And again, like I mentioned, the falsetto. Are you getting nervous during the chorus? The lyric, I torture rock stars with pliers, they're so stock it wouldn't be a shock if I open them up to see wires. I think that's a reference to the kind of sameness of the rock mainstream music, or even just pop stars in general. And there is a lot of production work on this track. David Costin, who's mostly known for pop slash indie artists, an example being Marina and the Diamonds, which I just googled. Shinrin Yoku starts off gentle, it's just a load of sounds with a faint electronic beat underneath, and then you get this trumpet melody that just happens for quite a while, but then before the end it's rock again, it's hitting heavy, whilst also still being slightly different in a way. Undercover Agents was the single released the night before the release, blends in really well with Shinrin Yoku. I was listening to it just before filming this, and I didn't even notice that Undercover Agents had started until about a minute in. And that is definitely an electronic song. It's not pop, it's not rock, it's electronic. Revolt of the Atoms has this bouncy sing-along chorus talking about potentially like an apocalypse caused by life. They plan to wipe us out, everything is crumbling. Just another look at the state of the world that we're currently living in. Now, one of the tracks that's had a lot of talking about online, An Ode to Lost Jigsaw Pieces. It starts off steady, and then it builds up from the second chorus, but then it kind of like settles down again, and then it's up again and down, and it's just all over the place in terms of like what's going on. As a song itself, it does do really well. You've got the string section mimicking Rue Reynolds' vocal melodies. I think the lyrics can kind of be seen as a metaphor for mental health, jigsaw pieces being like the pieces of yourself. There's lyrics referring to coping with loss, and then the song just finishes all guns blazing with screams of we all cope somehow, and then it just signs off with an inhale and exhale of breath, and then the album finishes with the Embers, which is something of a reprise of the string sections from An Ode to Lost Jigsaw Pieces, but it's a nice sign-off. It just adds a little bit of finality to the album. To me, this album is nothing like what I've heard before. In terms of music in general, really, it's kind of hard to stick this album into a bracket. Genre is not really something that applies to this album because it's so versatile. Like, that is one word I would use to describe this album: versatile. When it came to giving this album a solid rating, I wasn't entirely sure what to give it at first. So I was thinking something around the 7s and 8s, but then I gave it another listen and I was just like, this is a really solid album. Sometimes you don't think it's a complete thing, it's more of like there's one, maybe half a track that feels like it's not part of an album. The only rating I could think of giving this was 9 out of 10, and that's what I'm going to give it. So that is my review of The Spark by Enter Shikari. Have you heard the album? What do you think? Do you agree with what I've said? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I shall see you whenever. Adios.